Hello dear students, welcome back to EduTeach channel. I will discuss with you a very interesting topic, that is flower biology. So already you are familiar with this flower biology because you have already studied it in your 11th and 12th standards. So here just we are going to recall again those concepts and terminologies. So before directly jumping on your flower biology term, I would like to start here with morphology of flowering plants. So when we look into the morphology of flowering plant, a plant has two systems, that is root system and shoot system. So the underground plant part which is lies below the soil surface is called as a root system, while the part which is present above the soil surface is called as a shoot system. Okay. So generally this root system, if you see, the roots are having a brown, non-green and underground part of the plant, as well as these roots are also having branches. Collectively this root with these branches is called as a root system. So generally this root system is of three types. We are having three types of root system, that is taproot system, fibrous root system and adventitious root system. So in case of taproot system, a main radicle is going to be developed from the germinating seeds along with its primary roots, okay, and branches, and this primary root is going into the depth or too much deeper into the soil. At the same time, from this main or primary root there are several roots are developed, so those roots are called as a lateral roots. Okay. So such a system you can observe in a majority time in dicotyledonous plants, where one main root is there which is going into the too much depth of soil, and while remaining one are lateral, they are just occupying a horizontal space. Okay. Then second one is a fibrous root system, so that you can observe in monocotyledonous plant, where your roots are going to develop from a thin and a moderately branching roots or primary roots. So here also we are having a primary root, but the depth or the growth of primary root is not too much long, so that primary root cannot be go into the too much deeper in a soil. So these roots generally arising from this main one point of primary roots. So several roots are arising, so such type of root system is called as a fibrous root system. Then third one is a adventitious root system, which is similar to your fibrous root system, but here we are having only one difference. Roots are not only emerging from one point, but instead of that from any plant part such as your internode, nodes, we are getting the roots. So here not only from this main primary root, you are getting roots from this nodal region as well as internodal region. So such type of root system is called as a adventitious root system. Also you can observe this type of system in monocotyledonous plants. Okay. The next point is shoot system, so which is another essential part of the plant, which bears your branches, leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. Also this part is going to help here in the conduction of mineral as well as water upwards towards the all plant parts. So generally this shoot system, when it is young, they are having a green color, that you can see here, but when they get mature or becomes old, it will turn into woody and brown color. So generally this stem is modified in few crops that you can see in the form of sucker, runner, climbers, tubers, rhizome, tendrils, thorn, etc. etc. The next point is leaves. So leaves, these are the laterally bound structure and usually having a flat shape. Okay. So these leaves are main photosynthetic part which is present on the plant, because only the leaves are having a capacity to absorb the sun rays and develop that light energy into chemical energy or into carbohydrate. Okay. So these leaves are consist of three main part, that is every leaf is having the leaf base, then it has a petiole and lamina. Okay. So this is base, then this one is petiole and this one is lamina. Okay. So it has three parts. So generally these leaves are grow on a nodal region and bears the buds at the axils. Okay. The next point is flowers, a very important one. Flowers. So these flowers are the reproductive parts of the plant. Generally their arrangement present on the floral axis, that is called as a inflorescence. Again, inflorescence we are having of two types, that is racemose type and another one is a cymose one. So we are going to see all the details about the flower in later. The next point is fruits. After flower formation they will be turned into fruits. Okay. So fruits are nothing but they are the characteristic features of your flowering plants, which is a ripened or mature ovary, and the seed is what the ovules develop into the seed after fertilization. Okay. So there are different types of fruits we are having, such as a simple fruit. When only single fruit is formed, then it is called as a simple fruit with monocarpellary ovary. Okay. Then aggregate, when your fruits are present in a group or in a bunches, then it is called as a aggregate fruits. Then composite. So these are the false fruit developed from an entire inflorescence rather than from a single flower. Okay. So only one fruit will be formed, or many fruits like strawberries you have seen, there are many flowers together united and form a one fruit. So such a fruit is called as a composite one. The next one is a seed. So seed is the basic part of the plant which is found enclosed within the fruit. Okay. So this seed is again of two types, monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous one, etc. etc. Okay. So this is all about the morphology of flowering part. Now we are moving towards the our important topic, that is the flower. So as you know that the flower is nothing but it is the reproductive organ of angiosperm. Okay, angiosperm means these are the plants which bear the flower. So as per the few scientists, flower is nothing but it is the modified shoot with four valves. Any flower will have a four valves, that is outermost layer is called as a sepal. Then inside that sepal we are having another attractive colored part, that is called as a petal, then stamens and pistil. So out of these four valves, the outermost layers, sepals and petals, they are not involved in the reproduction, therefore we call them non-reproductive parts. Then another two, that is the stamens and pistil, that is together involved in the reproduction of that flowering plant, so we call them reproductive parts. Okay. So here you can see a structure of flower. So general flower structure is here I have presented. So you can see the parts of flower from base towards the upward. So first one is, you can see the pedicel. So it is nothing but the stalk of your flower, that is called as a pedicel, and before that pedicel again, when the flower is going to emerge through the axils of your leaf, okay, this flowering stalk. So at the base we are having some leaf like structure here, okay. So this leaf like structure which is present at the base of flowering stalk, that is called as a bract or hypsophil. Then through this hypsophil we are having a stalk like structure. So, or it is a stalk of flower, sometimes it may be short one, long one, or even sometimes it is absent. So that is called as a pedicel. Then above pedicel if you go, we are having a green colored swollen and expanded tip on which the four whorls, that is sepal, petal, then androecium and gynoecium, they are going to arise here, or they are sit on that base. So that green colored base is called as a receptacle, okay. So sometimes you can see a hair like structure on this pedicel, a white or hair like structure is present on this pedicel. So that is called as a bracteoles, okay, that is called as a bracteoles. Then above this receptacle we are having a four whorls. A typical complete flower consists of four circles of floral organ, that is called as a calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So all sepals together called as a calyx, all petals together called as a corolla, then all carpels together called as a gynoecium, all stamens together called as a androecium, okay. Is that clear? So here you can see sepal. So individual is sepal, together calyx. So these are the outermost part. So here you can see a green leaf like structures present here. So those structures are called as a sepal, okay. So outermost protective whorl, individual member of calyx is called as a sepal, which is generally in a green color, okay. Then second, or attractive whorl present inside this sepal or calyx. So that colorful or attractive part is called as a petal. Individual one is called as a petal, all petals together called as a corolla, okay. Then third one is androecium, or it is also called as a male whorl, okay. So male whorl or androecium, so it is the collection of your male parts called as stamens. So here you can see these are the stamens. Individual one is called as a stamen, together called as a androecium. So this stamen is again divided into two parts, that is this tube like structure you can see here, that tube like structure is called as a filament, and above this filament this yellow dot like a circle disc shaped structure is present, that is called as a anther, okay. So each anther is again having a two lobes, it is having two lobes, each lobe usually contain a two pollen sacs which is involved in the reproduction process. Then the last one or innermost whorl or fourth whorl is called as a female whorl or gynoecium, okay. So this gynoecium individually called as a carpel. If you are having a group, then in that is called as a gynoecium, okay. So this carpel is consist of three parts, that is ovary you can see here, then style and stigma. So this part is called as a style and this above part is called as a stigma, okay. So generally ovary is a swollen basal part of carpel that contains one or more ovules. So inside this ovary you will have a ovules. So each ovule is again connected to the ovary wall through a facial tissue that is called as a placenta, that we are going to see into detail. Okay. So one by one all parts we are going to study. So here you can see sepal, the small leaves under the flower which is generally green in color. Then colorful part is called as a petal. Then this one is called as a androecium, and innermost layer ovary, style and stigma called as a gynoecium. Okay, so these are the generally 4 parts of your flower: sepal, petal, androecium and gynoecium. So one by one we are going to see the flower parts and their functions. Okay. So first part is peduncle. So peduncle is nothing but these are the flower stalk or pedicel. Peduncle is nothing but if you are having a flowers in a groups. So main flowering axis is called as a, so suppose this is the peduncle on which you are having again such a flowers. Okay, so this main axis is called as a peduncle, while individual flower stalk is called as a pedicel. Okay. Then receptacle, so it is nothing but these are the part of flower stalk bearing the floral organ, or it will be base of your flower. Then sepal means these are the leaf like structure or outermost part of your flower which initially going to do the protection of your young birds. Then another one is a calyx. So calyx means all sepal together called a calyx. The next one is petal. So petal is located in and above the sepal, often large and colorful, which attracts the insect. It has sometimes scent as well as nectar. So purpose of petal is to attract the pollinator for a pollination purpose. So all petals together called as a corolla. The next one is a stamen. So stamen is nothing but it is a male part of flower consisting anther and filament, which will able to do a production of pollen grains for pollination. The next one is anther. So the pollen bearing portion which is present on stamen called as anther. Then pollen, these are the grains containing male gamete or immature male gametophyte with protective outer cover is called as a pollen. Okay. The next one is carpel. So female part of the flower consisting of stigma, style and ovary. Then stigma, which is often sticky top of the carpel, serves as a receptive surface for a pollen grain. So stigma is the topmost or upper part of your carpel which is having some sticky substance. So it will provide a landing surface for a pollen grain before fertilization. Then style, the stalk of carpel between stigma and ovary. So it is a portion between stigma and ovary through which pollen tube grows and reach to the ovary. The next one is ovary. So ovary is the enlarged base of carpel containing ovule, and later on this ovary when it get mature it turns into fruit. So fruits will be developed from this ovary. Then ovule, which is located or present inside the ovaries, carries female gamete and later on develop into seed when it will get fertilized. Okay, so this is all about your floral parts. The next point is types of flowers. So generally whatever variation present in the flowering parts or what type of structure present in that flower, on the basis of that your flower is divided into two types, that is complete flower and incomplete flower. Okay. So suppose your flower is having all four parts. So you can see here in this flower is have a sepal, petal, anther and gynoecium. So if all these four parts are present in a flower, then it is said to be complete flower. If your flower is going to lack any one part, so in this case you can see here we are having only petal, calyx as well as here androecium, and in this flower we are having a gynoecium. So one part is missing here in the first one. In this flower you can see the part, in this flower you can see the flower is having only three valves, that is calyx, corolla and androecium, while this one is having calyx, corolla and gynoecium. So one part is missing or your flower is lacking it. So such type of flower is called as a incomplete flower. So if flower lacks any one part of modified leaves, then it is said to be incomplete. Okay. The next, bisexual flower and unisexual flower. On the basis of sexuality, your flower is divided into two types, that is bisexual flower and unisexual flower. If your flower is having a both sexual part or the parts which is required for reproduction, that is androecium and gynoecium. Okay, so you can see here in first flower, in this one we are having a androecium and gynoecium. Okay, therefore this flower is said to be bisexual flower, while this one, another one, if you see it have only gynoecium, androecium is absent, and therefore this flower is called as a unisexual flower because it have only one sex, female part, male part is absent. Therefore it is a unisexual flower. Other than this, sometimes you will have a only male part, female part is absent. So such a flower is called as a unisexual or imperfect flower because it lacks one part. Okay. The next one is, on the basis of which plant part or which sexual organ is present, your flower is divided into three types again. Okay, hermaphrodite flower, staminate one and pistillate one. So when we call pistillate flower, if your flower is have only gynoecium, so androecium is absent, so your flower will have calyx, corolla and gynoecium, then that flower is said to be pistillate flower because female reproduction organ is present, male reproductive organ is absent. Then staminate flower means the flower which will have a calyx, corolla and only androecium. So here female reproductive organ is absent, in that case that flower is said to be staminate flower. Then next one is hermaphrodite or complete flower. If your flower bears both, that is male and female reproductive organ, then that flower is said to be hermaphrodite or complete flower. Okay. Then next one is, on the basis of hypanthium present, there are again three types we are having: hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. So hypanthium is nothing but if the corolla and calyx are attached to a cup or tube, okay, then that receptacle, the cup shape or a tube like shape receptacle is called as a hypanthium. So here you can see instead of normal arrangement, the receptacle will have a further enlarged growth. Okay, it may be going to form a cup shape, or here you can see tube like shape, and on this tube like shape your calyx, corolla and other plant parts are going to arrange. So in that case, that tube like shape structure or cup shape structure is called as a hypanthium. So on the basis of that hypanthium present, there are three types we are having: hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. Okay, or on the basis of ovary position, again we are having two types, that is superior ovary and inferior ovary, that is also depend on the presence of this hypanthium. Okay, so hypanthium is nothing but it is the cup like or tubular enlargement of the receptacle of a flower, which is loosely surrounding the gynoecium or united with gynoecium. So when we call superior ovary, if the condition is hypogynous or perigynous. So hypogynous condition means what? So you can see here. Okay, so your sepals, petals and stamens are present at the base of ovary. So ovary is present above these three parts. So sepal is arranged first on this receptacle, then petal and stamen, and ovary is present above these three parts. So such a condition is called as a hypo. So hypo means below, gynous means gynoecium. So petal, sepal, stamens present below the ovary or at the base of ovary, then that condition is called as a hypogynous, and ovary is said to be superior ovary. Okay, or perigynous condition in which your petals, sepal and stamens are arranged on the rim of hypanthium. So here you can see a tube like hypanthium is produced from the receptacle, and here you can see the arrangement of this calyx, corolla and stamens. Okay, so such a condition is called as a perigynous, and ovary is again said to be superior. Then inferior ovary, if you are having a epigynous condition, so epi means above, gynous means gynoecium. So these petals, sepal and stamens are attached above the ovary or at the top of ovary. So this hypanthium is forming a cup shaped structure, and which is going to enclose your ovary, and then on this top of this ovary we will see the arrangement of sepal, petal and stamens. Okay, so such a condition is called as a epigynous condition, when petal, sepal and stamens attached at the top of ovary, and the ovary is said to be inferior. Okay. Then on the basis of flower symmetry, again there are three types of flower: actinomorphic flower, zygomorphic flower and irregular flower. Okay, or asymmetrical. So actinomorphic means it is a regular flower or it has a symmetry. Okay, so actinomorphic flowers can be divided by any vertical plane into two equal or similar halves, such as your brinjal, mustard flower if you see. So if you give a cut from any direction, if you give a proper cut from any direction, see, it will divide your flower into symmetry. So from any direction, if you cut the flower, it will divide into always two equal parts. So such a type of flower is called as a symmetrical flower or actinomorphic flower. Then second one is zygomorphic or monosymmetrical or bilaterally symmetrical. It means your flower can be divided into two equal halves by only one vertical division. So in this case you can see, if you cut from this direction, then only you will get a two similar halves or parts of the flower, but if you are going to cut from this direction, you will not get the symmetry. So, in case of zygomorphic, only one median along this longitudinal axis will be possible. And the third one is asymmetrical flower. So, this is a flower you can't divide into two equal halves by any vertical division. If you cut from any direction, you will not get a symmetry, then it is called as a asymmetrical or irregular flower. Okay. So thank you students for listening this video. In next lecture we are going to cover the remaining part, that is the parts of flower and their conditions. Okay.